As I was born from the semen of Vyasadeva, I want you to have children through the semen of some great rishi. Kunti was ever agreeable to the desires of her husband and spoke to him in the following words. When I was a young girl, I used to wait upon guests and satisfy them to their heart's content. One day a Brahmana named Muni came to my father's palace. By my services, the Brahmana was satisfied and wanted to give me a benediction. He bestowed upon me a mantra by which I could call any demigod from the upper planetary systems. He said to me, "With this mantra you may call any one of the demigods, and they will abide by your will. Any demigod who you call will beget children by you. If you command me, I shall call for any demigod you wish. O foremost of all truthful men, tell me which of the demigods I should summon." Hearing the words of Kunti with great joy, Pandu replied, "O most fortunate Kunti, summon the demigod of justice Yamaraj. He is most pious and a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Indeed, he is one of the Mahajans and will not pollute our dynasty with sin." Kunti agreed with the order of Pandu and prepared to call the demigod Yamaraj. Kunti repeated the incantation that Muni had taught her, and she called for the demigod Yamaraj. Through him she begot a child that was equal to the great Yamaraj himself. When the child was born, there was a celestial voice from the sky that announced, "This child shall be the best among men, the foremost of those that are virtuous. He will be known as an intimate associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Endowed with great prowess and truthful in speech, he will become the ruler of this earth. This first son of Pandu will be known as Yudhisthira, and he will be a famous king throughout the three worlds." Pandu was overjoyed by the birth of such a pious son, and he told Kunti, "The wise have declared that a Kshatriya must be endowed with physical strength, otherwise he is no Kshatriya. Therefore call for Vayu, the mighty demigod of the wind." Kunti then called for the demigod Vayu, and coming before her he said, "O Kunti, please tell me why you have called me." Smiling with modesty, she said, "Please give me, O best of the celestials, a child endowed with great strength and large limbs, and capable of humiliating the pride of everyone." Vayu then begot a child by her that was the foremost of all who were endowed with strength. When the child was born, a voice from the sky said, "This child shall be known as Bhima, and by his strength he will conquer over all persons." On this same day that Bhima took birth, Duryodhana was also born. One day shortly after Bhima's birth, Kunti was holding him in her lap, the child having fallen asleep. Suddenly a lion roared, and Kunti rose unconscious that the child was on her lap. The child fell down the side of a mountain and crushed the stone upon which he fell into powder. The child was not hurt in the least, and Pandu was amazed at the bodily strength of his son. After the birth of Bhima, Pandu desired more children. He told Kunti to practice austerities for 1 year, and he himself stood on one leg from morning till evening every day in rapt meditation, hoping to satisfy Indra, the king of heaven. Indra, being pleased with Pandu, came to him and said, "I will give you, O king, a child who will be celebrated all over the three worlds. He shall destroy the impious and be the joy of those who are pious. He will be a great devotee of Lord Vishnu." Pandu then called for Kunti and told her to call the demigod Indra to beget another child. Kunti, following the order of her husband, called for Indra, and through her he begot a child that was to be the intimate associate of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Upon the birth of this child there was a celestial sound from the heavens announcing, "This child shall be known as Arjuna. He will be equal in bowmanship to the great Kartavirya, and in prowess he will resemble Lord Shiva. Invincible in battle, he will spread the glories of the Kuru dynasty far and wide. Acquiring all kinds of celestial weapons, he will win back the fortunes of your dynasty." After these prophetic words were heard, kettle drums rolled, and the demigods and the rishis showered the earth with flowers. The celebrated Pandu was overjoyed on the occasion and approached his wife with a desire to beget more children. However, before Pandu could speak, Kunti said, "The wise do not sanction a fourth child even in a season of distress. The woman who has intercourse with 4 different men is called a prostitute, and with the 5th she is called a harlot. Therefore, O great king, as you are learned in the scriptures, please do not ask me to again beget children." After the birth of Kunti's first 3 sons, and also the birth of 100 sons to Gandhari, Madri, the daughter of the king of Madras, approached Pandu and spoke the following words. "O great king, I have no complaint if you are not in favor of me. O sinless one, I also have no complaint that although I am senior to Kunti, I am inferior to her in station. I do not grieve when I hear that Gandhari has obtained 100 sons. This, however, is my great grief, that while Kunti and I are equal, I am childless. If Kunti could teach me to have children in the same way that she has begotten children, then I would be satisfied. Please ask her on my account." Pandu then approached Kunti and in sweet words asked her to teach the mantra to Madri so that she could also have children. Kunti readily agreed and told Madri, "Think of some demigod that you are favorable towards, and certainly you shall beget children by him." Madri thought of the twin Ashvin Kumar demigods, and within a matter of seconds they appeared before her. They gave her 2 children named Nakula and Sahadev, who were unrivaled on earth for personal beauty. As soon as they were born, a voice from the heavens spoke, "In energy and beauty, these 2 children shall excel even the twin Ashvins themselves." Thus 5 children were born to Pandu, and the great king felt fully satisfied to see the good quality of his children. They were each born at a year's interval apart, and as they grew, they became the favorite of the great sages in that region. Gandhari also gave birth to children. She received a benediction from Vyasadeva that she could have 100 sons. Sometime after Gandhari conceived, and she bore the pregnancy for 2 years without delivering. When she heard that Kunti had given birth to a child whose splendor was like the morning sun, she became angry and violently hit her womb. She then gave birth to a ball of flesh that was like a hard iron ball. When she was about to throw the ball of flesh away, Vyasadeva appeared on the scene. Without disguising her feelings, she said, "When I heard that Kunti gave birth to a child that was effulgent like the sun, I struck my womb. You have promised me 100 sons, but here is a ball of flesh." Vyasadeva replied, "O daughter of Subal, my words can never be futile. I have never spoken an untruth, even in jest. Let 100 pots full of clarified butter be brought instantly. In the meantime, sprinkle cool water over this ball of flesh." As the ball of flesh was being sprinkled with water, it separated into 100 pieces, each about the size of a thumb. They were then placed in the pots of ghee and covered. Vyasadeva told Gandhari that a child would be born from each of the pots. He then left for the Himalayan mountains. The first child born from those pots was Duryodhana. As soon as he was born, he began to bray like an ass. And hearing that sound, the asses, vultures, jackals, and crows uttered their respective cries. Violent winds began to blow, and there were fires in various directions. Duryodhana was born on the same day that Bhima was born. After the birth of Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra in great fear called for Bhishma, Vidura, and all the senior Brahmins and members of the Kuru house. He then spoke to them, "The oldest of the princes is Yudhisthira, and he shall become king. By virtue of his birth he has gained the kingdom. But what about this son born to me? Will he become king?" As soon as these words were spoken, jackals, crows, and asses began to howl frightfully. Vidura then spoke to the king. "O king, when these frightful omens are noticeable at birth, it is evident that this child shall be the exterminator of your race. Your prosperity is dependent on abandoning him, and if you decide otherwise, it will prove to be the destruction of the dynasty. You already have 99 other sons born to you, so let this one go. O king, do good to the whole world by casting away this child." When Vidura had thus spoken, all the Brahmanas agreed, but Dhritarashtra had not the heart to destroy this child. Within a month, all the 100 pots of ghee had produced a child, and in addition to these 100, Vyasadeva produced another pot in which a female child was born named Dushila. Also there was a Vaishya woman who used to serve Dhritarashtra very faithfully. By her the king begot a child named Yuyutsu, who was endowed with great intelligence. Thus 101 sons were born to Dhritarashtra, as well as 1 daughter. In order of birth they were Duryodhana, Yuyutsu, Dushashan, Dushaha, Dushila, etc. All the 101 children became heroes and great chariot fighters. One day after the birth of his 5 sons, Pandu was wandering about in the woods with his wife Madri. It was the springtime, and the flowers were in bloom, casting their scent in all directions. The birds like the parrot, the cuckoo, the cranes, and the peacocks were singing sweetly, and the bees were making their humming noises. Bewildered by the atmosphere, King Pandu became attracted to his wife, and forgetting the curse of the rishi, forcibly embraced her. Madri tried to resist the advances of her husband, but it was of no use. Impelled by fate, the great king, overwhelmed by passion, ended his life trying to enjoy the embraces of his wife. Embracing the dead body of her husband and weeping aloud, Madri called out for Kunti. Kunti heard the call and came to where Madri lay with Pandu. Seeing the dead body of Pandu, Kunti fell to the ground crying. She was overwhelmed with grief and chastised Madri again and again for not resisting the king. Madri told her all that had happened and how she had tried to stop the advances of Pandu. Kunti then said, I am the oldest of his wedded wives, and therefore the religious right of Sati belongs to me. You must now take care of the children and see that they are properly raised. To this Madri replied, Kunti, it is I who should enter the fire with our Lord. He had approached me for embraces, and his desires being unfulfilled, he has ascended to the heavens. Therefore I shall accompany him to the abode of Yamaraj to fulfill his desires. If I survive, I shall certainly not be able to raise your children as if they were my own. But you, O Kunti, shall be able to raise my sons as if they were your own. Therefore let my body be burnt with his. Kunti reluctantly agreed to the proposal. While lamenting greatly, they built a funeral pyre and laid the dead body of Pandu upon it. As the body burned, Madri entered the flames and attained the same destination as her husband. Thus ends the 5th chapter of the Adi Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled The Pandavas Are Born.